Hello again, class. This is chapter 9.8, Write an Equation. We are going to be writing and solving an equation that can help us solve a problem. We use variables or letters for the values that are unknown or for the values that may change. In our first problem, we are going to be dealing with making a toboggan. It says that the materials to make a toboggan cost $8 for each toboggan that is made. Craftsman is going to budget $2,000 this year, and then he's going to budget $3,000 next year. So he's obviously figuring that he's going to increase his production. The question is, how many toboggans can he make each year? When we look at a problem like this, we think to ourselves, okay, the cost of making one toboggan times the number made have to equal our total cost. Now we look to see what we have in the problem that will help us. And note that we're going to actually do this twice, because we want to do it for this year and then for next year. You know, not every problem is solved with only one equation. This one, we are going to be dealing with this year, and then we are going to figure out what's going to happen next year. So we're going to do this in two steps. Let's look at this year. The cost of making one toboggan is $8 times the number that are made. Does it tell us anywhere in the problem how many toboggans are made? No, in fact, that's our question. How many toboggans can he make? So that's going to be our variable, what we don't know. I'm going to use an N because it's not known. We do know, however, that this year, this person is going to spend $2,000. If you look at this equation, this is a one-step multiplication equation, which means we need to divide both sides by 8. N is going to equal 250 toboggans. You hit pause and see if you can figure out how many toboggans he can make next year if he budgets $3,000. We're going to use that same 8 because it's 8 times the number of toboggans. What changes is that instead of $2,000, we're going to put in $3,000. And then again, we have the one-step multiplication equation. So we're going to divide both sides by the 8. And this time, it will be 375 toboggans. Let's look at number 2, or example B. You plan to purchase a mountain bike that costs $267 or a freestyle bike for $183. At this point, you have $90, which isn't enough, obviously, to buy either the mountain bike nor the freestyle bike. And you're going to figure on saving $7 per week. Okay, so $7 times the number of weeks. Now we have this $90. We already have that, so we're going to add that to what we save. That's going to equal the cost of the bike, or the goal of how much money we want to raise. Notice that this person, or you, haven't made up your mind. And maybe you're going to make a decision. Well, I don't want to wait very long, so I'll buy whichever bike I can get first. Maybe you're just going to say, you know what, I want to have a mountain bike, so that's what I'm going to do. But we're going to have to do two problems again, just like we did for example A. We're going to have to figure out how much, or how many weeks you're going to have to work to save enough money for that mountain bike. $7 times the number of weeks. We don't know that. Plus 90 it's going to equal the cost of the mountain bike, which is $267. Now, we haven't done an equation like this for a while. This is really a two-step equation with addition and multiplication. So we are first going to deal with the addition, undo with subtraction. 90 minus 90 is 0, so on this left side, we are left with 7W. 267 minus 90 is going to leave us with 177. I'm not done yet, because I know 7 times the number of weeks, but I don't know the number of weeks. I'm still going to have to divide both sides by 7. Now, if you put this through your calculator, it does not come out even. If you round off to the nearest tenth, the best you'll come up with is 25.3. You are really going to have to work 26 weeks to make sure that you have enough money saved in order to buy the mountain bike. This time, you hit pause and you work at how many weeks it will take to buy the freestyle bike. Now note that that's $183. So you hit pause and work it through. All right, class, now your equation is going to be pretty similar. 7W plus 90, only instead of 267, this time it's going to be 183. Now just like before, you're going to take 7W plus 90. You're going to have to subtract that 90 from both sides, because we need to get down to W, and at first we need to get to 7W. This is going to be 93. Then we are going to divide both sides by 7. When you did that, you would have ended up with approximately 13.3, so you're going to have to work 14 weeks to make sure that you have enough money for the freestyle bike. Now from there, you're going to have to make a decision. Do you really want to work a half a year to get a mountain bike, or are you willing to work for less weeks in order to get a freestyle bike? Our last example doesn't really deal with the same type of, it isn't quite the same as the other ones. This one is actually based on a formula, and sometimes they will do that. We know that the area of a rectangle has two formulas, B times H or L times W. And they are dealing with width and length. They would like for you to deal with that particular formula, area equals length times width to find the area of a rectangle. Now, if we look at our problem, what does that first sentence say? It says the area is 180. So we're going to replace the A with 180. We know that the width, W, is going to be 12. We don't know this L. So I'm going to shift it over and put the 12 in front of it, simply because I like my coefficients in front of my variables. Now, sometimes when we see an equation like this, it kind of bothers us. It's the same type of equation as 12L minus 180. It's just that, or equals 180, excuse me. But at this stage, having gone through equations as often as you have this year, you really should be able to solve that, even though the variable is over on the right. We need to undo the 12. Now, this 12 divided by 12 is 1. That's going to leave me with the L. And at this point, I shift it over to my left side. I take 180, divide by 12, and I find that my answer is 15. Now, I want the length. So that is in one dimension, so my label is going to be foot. And that concludes lesson or chapter 9-8 on writing an equation and solving a problem. Catch you next time.